Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Saturday, July 5th, 2014, and we're going to take a look at the markets today, our typical weekend view of the markets. We had a shortened week this week, but then I'm also combining this with the Trade Ideas video, so it's going to be combined, and I'm going to do this going forward. I'm not going to be issuing a separate video on Sunday. We'll cover all of this today on Saturday. Okay, so let's start off with the stock market. So the market closed at noon Central Time on Thursday, and it was up 92 points, okay? So the unemployment or the jobless claims came out, the jobless numbers came out, I guess, and the unemployment rate dropped to 6.1%. I can't remember, the unemployment claims I think dropped also. And so here we are with the Dow, popping up again. Now, I'm still keeping this number in here. At some point, I've got to sit back and say, okay, enough's enough. This isn't going to reverse out of here. But I'm thinking right now in my mind, I'm thinking it's like 17,150 is going to be at that point. And then that's like 1% above this level. Because when I went back and I looked at these points, let me get rid of this for a minute. We had, again, I talked about a pattern in here that looked like an initial move, then like little A, B, C, and then the final move. All right. Well, I looked at, okay, well, how much higher was the final move above these little A, B, C, corrective type action here in the middle? Same thing here. Here was one, and then A, B, C, and then a final move. And this was 0.7% above the high. This was 1% above the high. So here we got this initial move, then an A, B, C, and now we're doing this like potential final move in here. And so 1% above this high gets me to like 17,148. So let's call it 17,150. So we continue, start closing above, we close above 17,150, and I'm going to be like, okay, there's some new scenario going on. All right. So that's my best guess. I mean, that's best estimate anyway, in terms of what we're doing. The divergence has gone away from here, but it's still here over a monthly basis. Okay. From between this point and this point, the same thing here on DI plus. All right. So let's take a look at the Dow on a weekly basis. Weekly basis, of course, shortened 3.5 day week. I got this little pop up here. Still got some divergence showing up here, a little bit of divergence here, from here to here, definitely in there. So we'll see. I mean, I think next week will be interesting to see how it plays out, because sometimes it's hard to make a lot out of a shortened week like this, and especially on Thursday too, where we had a shortened day. The S&P 500, similar type action that's going on. We're in this throwover stage up here, but at some point you got to say, okay, it's not a throwover anymore. It's gone to something else. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stay with the scenario I just talked about on the Dow Industrials. We'll see if that will play out. All right, let's take a look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ, it is trending higher above this point. You can see here was the high, and so it's substantially getting above in here. Nice trend. Notice how, again, once it has a tendency to get above the 10, okay, and I like confirming closes above the 10 and consecutive closes. That helps. And I'm always looking for, once I get a close, I'm looking for a certain move above that high to kind of say, okay, that's where it makes sense to get in, and it's confirming to get in, and then it rides. You're not getting the closes below the 10, and that's nice. I mean, it happens like over in here too. So right now the NASDAQ is continuing to trend higher. When we look at the NASDAQ on a weekly basis, similar type scenario, but I think we are getting divergence in here. Yes, we are. I mean, the RSI has not gone to a higher high with this move. DI plus has not gone to a higher high with this move. And the same thing, I think the demand index might have gone a little bit higher. So 2 out of the 3 are still showing divergences, even on a weekly basis. The New York Composite. New York Composite, again, is still showing divergence in here. If you look at this on an RSI, okay, it's clear if you do this, okay? So here's the three peaks. They're all lower at this point. And here's the three peaks on the price, and they're all higher. So it's diverging. When you look at the blue, here's the DI plus, and they're all lower. Okay, so right now we're getting divergence. That divergence needs to resolve itself. Okay, some way it needs to resolve itself. Either the price continues to push dramatically higher and the divergence disappears, or this reverses and sells off, confirming the divergence. One of two things are going to happen. New York Composite on a weekly basis. Again, look, I mean, very solid trend on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, divergence isn't quite as clear, although it's still in here, but over a longer period of time, over several month period, which would make sense because it's, each bar is a week. Not so much on the RSI, very short term in here. So I'm not sure I'm getting a whole lot, except we're up above the Keltner channel and closing above the Keltner channel. And sometimes you can stay there for several bars. But then a lot of times that's telling you that, you're at an extreme, you're going to pull back at least to one of the moving averages. Okay, so that is I wanted to look at the Russell 2000 real quick too, just on a daily basis. Okay, so what day was this? This was July 1st, Tuesday. Okay, so this is where it went up to this high and right about to the high here, pulled back down, and we still haven't closed above that high. So it's going to be interesting to see. He seems to be struggling to get through this point here on the Russell 2000. So it almost looks like a trading range that we've got in here. That's the best picture on this. So the topping scenario that we had went away, and remember how this kind of dragged out and made me think that something was happening in terms of changing anyway. All right, let's look at the short-term trading index. We got a lot to cover today, so I'm going to keep moving. This is pulled back down. We got a bullish reading, very 0.55, very bullish type reading in here. So the 10-day exponential moving averages drop back down. 10-day reading is 1.00, so it's right at 1. So again, it's moved in the direction, but we still haven't gotten an extreme reading yet. The VIX dropping back down, dropping to new lows. So this divergence that we saw in here failed on a short-term basis again. Now, on a longer-term basis, over, I say longer-term, 1, 2, 3, on a monthly basis, we're still showing divergence because this point is lower than this point, but this point is higher than this point. Okay, so, but we don't have a completed point because we don't have a rally coming off of this yet. So we're just watching. It's a potential divergence setting up again. Let's see. The next one is the high-low, and the high-low is not showing us any extreme at this point. It's pulled back down, and we're right in here where the 186 more new highs than new lows for the day on Thursday. All right, let's take a look at the semiconductor index, which has just gone to the moon. Let me look at this. All right, ETF, right on it. Boy, it knows exactly where I need to go, doesn't it? Okay, so we're getting divergence in here on the price pushing, this price push in here this last few days. The RSI not going to higher high, although it had been at a pretty strong extreme because of this really, really strong move in here. Same thing up in here and same thing up in here. So we're starting to get some divergence. I mean, this thing has got, it almost looks like it's done 5 waves. It almost looks like it's done a 1, 2, 3, very strong 3, 4, and then 5. So this would not surprise me. The fact that we're getting divergence doesn't surprise me that this would correct back on down, that we've got 5 waves and now we're going to correct back on down. So I'm looking for that to pull back. And the next one is the home builder index, home builder ETF. And this is usually, again, I know I have it. Here it is, Spider Home Builders. Okay, so this is hanging again right around this trend line. I talked about this before, how we pulled back and then, you know, we dropped back down here on Wednesday and then pulled back up here on Thursday. So it's just still hanging right in here on the trend line. And then the XLF, the financial ETF, it has it's popped up above this these highs in here. Okay, so it's a little bit of a doji bar though. Yeah, very small, not a strong bullish type move by any means. And we'll see if we continue to get follow through. I mean, we're getting divergence. We're not getting any higher highs in here. It's not a strong move in here on over a monthly basis. We're definitely not confirmed at all with the indicators on that move. So you got to be a little suspicious of that. All right, I think that's it. Let's take a look at our stocks now. That's our look at the markets for the weekend. I'm going to look at, the first one I'm going to look at is CREE. I got out of CREE and QIHU last week. CREE we got stopped out on for a loss. We had puts, I can't remember, I think we got in right around in here somewhere. And then this thing turned around and I had a 2 ATR stop initially for the first 5 days. And 2 ATRs had a stop around 50.59, right above the high of this big move in here, and it took me out right here, okay? And I remember somebody made a comment, I can't remember who it was, one of the guys on the website, and he commented about this doji bar and thought, well, you know, maybe this is going to mean we're going to reverse and head back down. And, you know, sometimes that is the case. I mean, you're at a Keltner, top of the Keltner channel in here, but I have learned that you got to be careful about these candlesticks sometimes. I mean, you need to be careful. You need confirmation. Okay, you know, this is a potential, could have been a potential like evening star, as if you would have got a bearish bar following it, but you didn't. You got another doji, and then look what happened. You know, it's popped to the upside right in here. So right now, the short-term trend is to the upside. We're out. Don't have a position on this. But the short-term trend is to the upside. The 21 is now breaking above the 55. You know, the 55 is looks like it's trying to turn a little bit because of this action in here. It is still below the longer-term 233-day moving average. So we'll see if CREE breaks above this trend line. It could be a substantial move trying to come back up to challenge new highs, but that's a long way to go in terms of a lot of work to get accomplished between now and then. QIHU 360. Okay, we got out with a profit on this one. We got in a little higher than I would have liked back in here. Had to sit through some sideways pullback and sideways action. Got out on the first half. I can't remember. I think it was on this move back in here, and then got stopped out on Thursday on the second half of the options. And again, the stop was on break even on the options, not on the price. So I mean, I had the way the stop was listed was like, okay, on the second half, if it got back where it was bidding exactly where I bought it for, that was going to be a stop, or a close below the prior 2-day low, whichever occurred first. Well, the option got hit first, so I was out. Now, this may still continue to trend to the upside, but I'm out of the calls. So still it was nice, profitable trend, not nearly as profitable as I would have liked or hoped for, but it was still a profitable trade. So that was nice. The details for that trade are on the Trade Ideas webpage. Okay, now the trade ideas that we are still in, CTRP. Again, all three of these trades that I'm still in, we have grabbed profit on the first half, on the half of the position. And so we are riding the second half. And right now this continues to trend and continues to ride, and I'm going to stay with it. So I'm actually, if I've got the wave count right on this, I'm pretty bullish on CTRP. And I think we've got some move to the upside. We'll see if this can continue to happen. We are at new highs on this thing. And we're up in all new territory, and we're heading higher. That's the way it looks. Okay, let's see. The next one is Melco Crown Entertainment. I actually said that right. All right, so this is another one we're in. We took some profits. We're in with the second half of the position, and we're running into this resistance zone, which is something I identified a week ago or so. So again, the high came up into here. The high was 36.9. The next day, the high was 37, and it sold back down and closed at 36.30. So the next day it opens at 36.98, trying to challenge that high of 37. Does it? No. It opened, and that was the high for the day, pulled back down, and then it closes at 36.84. So it is struggling to get through 37. We break through 37, and we could, really go and continue and pop. But we are going to have different points of resistance to see where selling came in here and in here. So I'd say selling came in around 39. Selling came in right here at the high at 41.55. So there are various levels to just identify and watch for as you ladder right on up and watch this thing move. So we'll see if Melco can get some steam behind it and keep going. And the other one that we're in is YOKU, to-do. And again, similar type scenario. I had drawn this resistance in here because this was support that when it broke back through became resistance, and it closed above it. It's been fluctuating a little bit and closing right around here all week in here. So we'll see. Again, this is another one we've taken some profits on, and we're trying to ride the second half of the profits. I'm thinking this has got a shot to head up to 27, where previous selling came in up in this area. And this is the 233-day moving average right here, simple moving average. So that's my assessment on YOKU. There are two new trade ideas that I'm be looking at for Monday. Facebook. I think Facebook, I am looking to sell Facebook when it breaks down below here, below these lows. I'll have the specifics on the Trade Ideas webpage. I haven't put them out there yet, but I will be here right after I get done with the video. Looks like sideways choppiness move to me, and the fact that we're getting close below the 10 and we've got divergence on some of the indicators in here. Not so much on the DIs, but 2 out of 3 are giving an indication of divergence. I think it's worth a chance because it just looks like this hasn't completed, like maybe one more leg down on Facebook, and we'll see if that happens. And the other one is on First Solar. And I think First Solar is in a 5th wave, that this is a 5th final wave up here of a 5-way move. And it's like an ending diagonal type thing with these waves through in here. Typically you're getting 5. Let me back the picture out so you see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, back up from 11.43, wave 1, wave 2, this was running flat. Wave 3, wave 4 corrected almost exactly to the top of wave 1. And then we got this, A, that is an A in here. It's hard to see. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think this is a 5th one. And so I think we're in this final wave, this overlapping waves of a diagonal, and I think it's wave 5. And so this is, now that we got to close below the 10 in here, and there's some divergence that's occurring, it's telling me that I think this has got a shot of heading to the downside. Okay, so that's why I'm looking at a play for buying puts. Now, again, when the moving averages are aligned like this, which is normally bullish, again, I'm not saying buy puts just automatically at the open. Okay, it's got to hit my price, which is going to be a little bit lower down in here. Okay, it's got to hit my initial target for me to even buy the puts. Number one, I want confirmation that it wants to go lower. If this thing opens up and then goes up, I'm not going to buy puts. Okay, so I've got a scenario that I'm trying to get confirmation on, and so that's what I'm looking at. And we'll see if this continues. Now, I talked about the reason these things, when these moving averages are aligned, the 10 above the 21, above the 55, above the 233, this normally would look at, you say, well, that's kind of bullish, like back in here, okay? They were lined up. Well, and it could be. This scenario could be could change into something else. But when I see a bigger picture and when I start to get divergence on a move, that's when I say, okay, and I get the close below 10, then I'll say, okay, I'm going to give it a shot to the downside and see if something materializes. All right, so that's those are the two new trade ideas we're going to take a look at. Now, there's 3 stocks that I'm watching to see if it'll develop, and that is CITRIX Systems, Tableau Software, and Whole Foods. I clicked on the wrong ones. So CITRIX Systems. Okay, this is, I think they still got this big head and shoulders bottom going on with CITRIX. And so the fact that it broke above this neckline in here, pulled back to the neckline, I'm looking to see whether or not I can get a close back above the 10. I get a close above the 10 EMA, and I'll be looking at buying calls, because look at the 21. It's nicely rising, again, this scenario of a potential head and shoulders bottom in here seems to be playing out, and we'll see whether or not we get it. Again, it needs to do something before I'm going to execute a trade idea. Tableau Software, similar type thing. I think we've had one big move here. I think this is a big corrective wave 2, although I'm not quite sure. I'm a little skeptical whether it's done, but it's been pretty deep. I mean, if this is the start of wave, this is the first day of trading on Tableau, by the way. So if this is the start and this is wave 1, then this is a big corrective wave 2, which is about 70% correction of the entire move here. And now we could be starting off on another wave 3. Okay. But we'll have to see. So I'm watching here to see, we're getting a little pullback. Do we reverse in here and get a close back above? So this is kind of on my watch list. And if something materializes, I'll issue a new trade idea. Whole Foods I'm also watching because I think we've made this first move. I think this is a pullback, like a little minor wave 2. I'm looking for a wave 3 to go, but I need a close above the 10 to start to set something up for me to get comfortable that maybe we got a shot at it. So that's what I'm watching in here. So those 3 I'm watching. So that's it for today. Kind of a long video, but we're combining 2. And so we've got the markets for today wrap up, and then we've got the trade ideas for today. The other thing I'm going to do, and I'll mention this on the website and in the email I put out, I'm going to start changing my publication day just a little bit. I'm going to be publishing on Monday night, Wednesday, and Saturday. So I still think that's going to give us pretty good coverage. Now, if the markets start to get super active in between, something big move happens, then I can put out like an interim video easily, in between those days if I need to. But I'm going to move to Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and still try to cover some Chinese stocks on Wednesday, combine, and on Saturday have trade ideas with the market update. You'll be getting a little fewer emails from me. Instead of getting 5 emails a week announcing a post or something, you'll get 3. And of course, always look at the Trade Ideas webpage to see what's happening with some of these trade ideas and monitor those. So, all right, that's it for today. Again, if you thanks for watching the video. If you found it was helpful in any way, show the love by sharing the video, clicking on one of the social media buttons, share it with your friends, share it with the world, and remember, trading is more than bars on the chart. So until next time, stay focused, follow your plan, and trade without fear. Have a great weekend, everyone.